Have you ever trusted too much in your will? Have you ever waited for that ideal day where everything would be aligned, your energy, your mood, your clarity? And when that day arrived, it never came. The truth is that many good people are wasting their lives waiting to feel ready. But there's a harsh and liberating reality that no one taught us. Willpower wavers, habit doesn't. You don't need to feel motivated anymore. You need to train yourself. Training isn't something you do when everything's fine. It's what you do precisely because things won't always be. You will feel fear. You'll want to postpone. You'll judge yourself as unprepared. But you'll learn over time not to be governed by what you feel. This video is not a light conversation. It's a call for you to lead yourself, even when the world seems chaotic. Because there's a kind of strength no one sees being born, but everyone notices when it arrives. The strength of someone who does what needs to be done with or without will. Let's begin. Have you ever heard of the Station of Almost? It's a place where dreams are parked, waiting for the right moment to depart. There are projects that were almost launched, books that were almost written, bodies that were almost transformed, ideas that almost changed a life. Almost. Always almost. It's the favorite station of procrastination, elegant, silent, dangerous. The person gets there saying, now's not the right time. I'm not ready yet. I just need a bit more clarity, more energy, more confidence. They believe they're being strategic, but they're just being seduced. Procrastination is that, a comfortable lie wrapped as emotional wisdom. And the most beautiful phrase of that lie is, when I'm ready, but what if that day never comes? What if the feeling of readiness isn't a sign, but a trap? Dale Carnegie said that people's greatest problem wasn't a lack of technical knowledge. It was emotional paralysis. The hesitation that arises in the face of the possibility of failure. The mind starts negotiating with its own strength, rationalizing the delay, hiding behind logic. And it's good at it. It says, you're tired. You don't have the resources. You need more time. It's better to wait until tomorrow. But deep down, tomorrow doesn't come ready. Tomorrow is built or it charges you with interest. Procrastinating is choosing relief now and burden later. That relief is like stolen candy from the frigid night. In the moment it feels necessary. Later comes the weight, the guilt, the loss of self-trust. And self-confidence doesn't die all at once. It dies in installments. You promise, tomorrow I'll start. You don't. You promise, this is the last time I postpone. You postpone again. You promise, Monday I will. And Monday never comes. Each broken promise is a crack in your own mirror. And the problem isn't just what you don't do, it's what you begin to believe about yourself. You start seeing yourself as inconsistent, undisciplined, weak. And that's not true. You're not weak. You're just poorly trained. Look, most people were never taught to act without will. We learn from a young age that desire comes first, then action. But that's only a half-truth. The great achievers are not the ones who wait for motivation. They are the ones who have systems, practices, commitments. They understand something essential. Willpower wavers. Habit doesn't. Habit is like a gear. Once spinning, it feeds on itself. But until it spins, it requires energy, will, courage, and often pain. That's why the beginning is the hardest. But it's also the most sacred. It is said that Epictetus, the stoic philosopher, told his disciples, do you want to be free? Then master the moment when you want to flee, because that is where the soul is trained. Procrastinating is not about time, it's about escape. Escape from judgment, from discomfort, from failure, from trying and getting frustrated. But there is a paradox. You only grow stronger by facing what you try to avoid. And that strength isn't born from motivational speeches. It's born from small, repeated, almost invisible acts. Imagine someone who decides to write for 10 minutes a day. They don't need inspiration, nor will, just the decision. In the first few days, it's hard. By the 10th day, they don't feel so much resistance. By the 30th, they feel pleasure. And by the 100th, they've become someone who writes, not because they're more talented, but because they're trustworthy to themselves. And here's something deep. Each day you act, even without will, you become more trustworthy to yourself. That's real training. Training yourself is to stop being a hostage of your emotional swing. It's learning to act not because you feel like it, but because you decided to. Do you want to write a book? Start with a sentence. Want to start working out again? Put on your workout clothes. Just that. Want to rebuild your life? Make your bed. Call someone you've been postponing. Prepare your meal with presents. It's through small gestures that the mind learns. Here, I'm in charge. The mind learns through gesture, not intention. It records actions, not plans. It is transformed through doing, not thinking. That's why what will change you isn't the desire to change. It's the commitment to the gesture that transforms. So here's a practice, simple but powerful. Grab a sheet of paper and write 3 actions you've been postponing. Next to each one, write, I don't need to be ready. I just need to start. Pick one. Do it now. Small, quick. Don't overthink. Begin training yourself like one forges a sword. Strike by strike, no rush, but with firmness. And when you least expect, you'll be someone who acts, who follows through, who leads themselves. And the world respects those who lead themselves, because few do it. Do you want to be one of them? Then stand up. The tide won't be perfect, but your movement can be. Have you noticed how your disposition changes throughout the day? In the morning, you wake up determined, today's the day. By the afternoon, you're already negotiating, maybe later. By the evening, you tell yourself, tomorrow for sure. This is the cycle of emotional tyranny. You start off well with intention, but the intention dissolves in fatigue, in anxiety, in lack of motivation. What once seemed certain becomes doubtful. What once seemed possible becomes an excuse. And what was a choice becomes an emotional debt. Why does this happen? Because you're still being governed by something that has never been reliable, mood. Mood is volatile. It depends on the weather, on what you ate, on a message you received, on a random comment, on an inner noise. That's why Dale Carnegie taught his students to commit to action, not to feeling. Because he knew those who depend on mood never finish what they start. Those who are led by their emotions live in conflict with their own goals. It's like trying to build a house in the middle of a storm. You might have the tools, but the foundation never dries. Training yourself is understanding this. It won't always be comfortable, but it will always be necessary. Real life demands movement even without clarity. Maturity is when you act, not because you're inspired, but because you're committed. It's the farmer who plants even under a cloudy sky, the athlete who trains even in the cold, the father who cares even when tired. These people don't do it because they feel like it. They do it because they know, and you can be one of them. But you'll have to let go of a modern addiction, waiting to feel like it to do what needs to be done. What must be done doesn't ask how you feel. It just waits to be done. The body doesn't wait for motivation to need care. The bills don't wait for your good mood to be due. The children don't wait for you to be inspired to need your attention. So why should your personal mission wait? You might be tired, frustrated, discouraged, but that doesn't disqualify you. It only challenges you. And maybe that's your chance to create a new identity. Not someone who acts when they feel like it, but someone who acts in order to feel. That's what few understand. Action creates the emotional state, not the other way around. You don't need to wait to feel energized to act. You act and movement activates the energy. You don't wait for confidence to put yourself out there. You expose yourself, and that builds the confidence. You don't wait for clarity to start. You start, and clarity appears along the way. That inversion changes everything. Most people are waiting for a light at the end of the tunnel, but the light is generated by those who walk. Those who overcome themselves at the start of the day rule the rest. That's why the first actions of the day are sacred. They are not just tasks. They are declarations. Today I lead. Today I choose to act. Today I act before I convince myself to stop. It's in the beginning of the day that you install the message your mind will repeat. If you wake up and do what you promised, the brain records. This person follows through, and it starts to trust more. And if you follow through again, that echo becomes a rhythm, and that rhythm becomes who you are. Waking up and acting is more than a routine. It's an affirmation of identity. You don't need to wait for willpower. You can choose to be the person who moves with or without it. That's the real training. Training yourself is doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. Because when you do what's right, even without wanting to, you discover something powerful. Discipline is more comforting than instant pleasure. It doesn't give you dopamine. It gives you dignity. It doesn't distract you. It structures you. And more importantly, it prepares you for hard days, because hard days will come. And when they do, it won't matter if you're motivated. What will matter is if you're trained. So, choose now. Do you want to be driven by your mood or guided by your commitment? Because the difference between the two is the difference between stagnation and transformation. When you think about changing your life, what do you imagine? A radical shift? A detailed plan? A leap of courage? What if I told you that the greatest transformation starts with something no one sees? A tiny decision, repeated every day. It's not grand, it's not epic, but it's real. And what is real shapes what lasts. Start small, but start every time. This is one of the most powerful phrases you can write into your mind, because every day matters more than one day. What transforms your mind is not the inspired intention. It's the practice gesture. It's when you get out of bed and make it even when you're lazy. Sit down to work even when you're uninspired. Say no to what destroys you even when you want to say yes. These small decisions are not minor details. They're bricks of a new identity. The human mind is a training field. It learns from what you do, not from what you promise. You can watch 10 videos a day, read 20 books a month, repeat powerful phrases in the mirror. But if you don't act, nothing sticks, because action is the language the brain respects. Want to learn how to act even without energy? Then start when you're out of energy. Want to learn to gain clarity? Then act while still confused. Want to become someone disciplined? Then repeat when you least feel like it. You don't need to understand everything, nor feel everything, nor want everything. You just need to obey the right gesture. Imagine this, a frustrated writer. He has ideas, he has talent, but he never finishes anything because he's always waiting for the perfect day. Until one day, he decides, I'm going to write 1 page a day, no goals, no pressure, just that. At first, it's hard. He doubts. He hates what he writes, but he doesn't stop. 1 page, then another, then another. Without realizing it, he creates a rhythm. Without realizing it, he finishes a book, not because a miracle happened, but because he acted before he felt ready. That's the secret. Act before understanding, before wanting, before having energy, because the energy comes later. The wanting comes later. Understanding is born through practice. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a simple commitment. And it's this: I will move, even if it's small, even if I'm tired, even if I'm lost. Will you fail? Of course. You'll forget, you'll give in, you'll want to quit. But if you come back, if you restart the next day, you win. Because the truly strong are not the ones who never break. They're the ones who know how to come back every time. Consistency is born from returning. And returning only happens when you value the small. When you understand that 1 minute of discipline is worth more than 1 hour of regret. And that one right choice now is worth more than 1,000 excuses later. You don't need to do everything today. You just need to do what you can and not stop. And if you stop, come back. Don't restart from zero. Restart from where you fell. Each repetition is a silent prayer saying, I still believe in myself. And that is enough. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the size of the action. It's about the loyalty to who you want to become. Be loyal to the gesture, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, even if it's invisible. Because one day, it will be undeniable. There is a kind of power that doesn't announce itself. There are no fireworks, no spotlights. It's born in the dark, in the silence. It's when, with no one watching, you choose to fulfill what you promised yourself. No audience, no applause, no motivation. Just you and your word. And that, though it seems small, is what builds a trustworthy human being. Not for others, for yourself. Because at the end of the day, there's a question that always comes back. Can I trust myself? Most people don't think about it consciously, but they feel it. They feel the weight of not following through. They feel the discomfort of knowing they ran away. They feel shame not for failing, but for not trying. And that shame turns into mistrust. Little by little, they stop believing in their own goals, in the promises made on the pillow, in the plans drawn with faith. And then, even when they try again, they no longer try fully, because something inside already whispers, you won't make it anyway. And this is where the chance for redemption lies. Fulfill something simple, every day, with silence and firmness. Dale Carnegie said that the most transformative enthusiasm isn't the loud one, it's the sustained one. The enthusiasm of silent discipline, of the gesture that repeats without needing motivation. Because that gesture has a voice. It tells your mind, I am trustworthy. Look, I followed through. And that follow-through becomes a foundation, a column, a root. Those who overcome themselves at the start of the day rule the rest. Because the first battle is the most symbolic. It's the moment when you say, today I get up even if I'm sleepy. Today I start even if I'm doubtful. Today I act even without wanting to. And that changes everything. The way you begin your day shapes how you treat yourself. It's a silent pact of inner leadership. You start to realize, I no longer depend on motivation. I lead myself. That is true confidence. Confidence that doesn't come from compliment. Confidence that doesn't need validation. Confidence that is born from keeping your own word. And every day you act, even without will, that confidence grows. Like a quiet tree in the middle of a noisy forest. The world screams, your discipline whispers. But the whisper of discipline is stronger than the scream of doubt, because it is true. It comes from action, not from promises. It comes from practice, not expectation. And with time, it creates sound. The sound of consistency. And the sound of consistency is music for the tired soul. It's what sustains you when everything else fails. When life turns to chaos, when no one believes, when everything seems too far away, you hear something inside that says, I keep going, I endure, I move. Because you've already proven to yourself that you can trust in yourself. And that trust is worth more than any fleeting motivation. Do you want to achieve that? Then start tomorrow. Better yet, start today. Choose a gesture. Simple, silent, sustainable. And repeat it. Not once, every day. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because that's how real trust is born. In the darkness of discipline. How many times have you told yourself, when I have more clarity, I'll start. When I know the way, I'll move. When I understand everything, I'll act. But there's a truth no one likes to hear. Clarity doesn't come first. It comes during. Action is what clears the fog of doubt. Movement is what lights up what was once in the dark. Do you want clarity? Then stop waiting for it and start building it. Clarity is not a gift. It's a consequence. The consequence of moving, trying, correcting, adjusting, of failing with courage, and succeeding with humility. The future won't come wrapped up. It will be built step by step by those who didn't wait to feel everything before doing something. Dale Carnegie said that fear paralyzes, but movement simplifies. And he was right. When you move, the world responds. Doors appear. Ideas flow. The right people show up. But none of that happens while you're standing still. You can think, plan, organize for years. But until you act, all of that is theory. Only movement transforms theory into reality. And here's an uncomfortable and liberating truth. The future will be built, whether you move or not. It's coming, with you or without you. It won't wait for your confidence, your energy, your motivation. It will come. The only question is, will you be the author or the spectator of your own story? That choice is yours. It always was. Training yourself is remembering this every day. My movement matters Because every choice you make today is shaping who you will be tomorrow. And if you don't move, time will move for you. But it is not kind to those who don't decide. It charges, it drags, it pushes. So be faster than time. Build now. Even without knowing everything. Even with fear. Even feeling like something's missing. Because you may lack clarity, but you cannot lack courage. Clarity will come, but only to those already on the path. Remember, don't wait for clarity. Be it. Don't wait for permission. Create movement. Don't wait for certainty. Choose faith. Because in the end, the ones who win the most are those who learn to walk in the dark. With small steps, but with great purpose. Are you ready to lead the next step? Have you realized everything we've talked about so far isn't about perfection? It's about decision. A decision you need to make maybe today, maybe now. Not an emotional, fleeting, impulsive decision, but a silent, firm, irrevocable decision. I will train myself, not to impress, not to please, but to become someone trustworthy to myself. Enough of waiting for the right moment. Enough of negotiating with your own strength. Enough of treating yourself as someone who almost lives. You're not here by accident. This message found you for a reason. Maybe because deep down, you already know what you have to do. You just needed a reminder, a mirror, a calling. So here it is. Are you ready to choose what needs to be done above what you feel? Are you ready to act even when it's uncomfortable? Are you ready to move even when the world tells you to wait? Because this decision isn't easy, but it's the most powerful one you can make. From it, you change the axis of your life. From someone who reacts to someone who leads. From someone who waits to someone who builds. From someone who postpones to someone who follows through. Are you ready for this? Then say to yourself truthfully, starting today, I become the person who does what needs to be done. No matter how long it takes, no matter how many times I fall, I rise, I restart, I train myself. Because the pain of action is temporary, but the power of becoming someone trustworthy lasts a lifetime, and no one can take that from you. If you made it this far, know this, it wasn't just a video. It was a mirror. Every word spoken so far pointed to one single truth. You don't need a new plan. You need a new posture. Because plans fail. Circumstances change. Emotions fluctuate. But your posture can be the foundation of everything. And what posture is that? The posture of someone who trains. Someone who has understood once and for all that willpower wavers. Habit sustains. Procrastination is escape disguised as prudence. Clarity comes during, not before. Consistency is born from the silence of discipline. You've learned that it's not about waiting for the ideal moment, but about becoming ideal for the moment. And that changes everything. Because from now on, every time you think about delaying, hesitating, running away, something inside you will remember, what needs to be done doesn't ask how I feel. That's the new code. That's what you write, day after day, into your behavior. You don't need to feel it to do it. You do it to learn how to feel it. You don't need to trust before acting. You act and become worthy of your own trust. You don't need to win epically. You win in the details. In the moment, you get up. In the decision, you repeat. In the choice, you uphold. And if you fail, come back. With more humility. With more truth. With more strength. You are not being trained to be invincible. You're being trained to be unshakable. Able to act with resolve even when emotions fail. Able to stay even when fear screams. Able to build even when the world collapses. And that ability doesn't come from talent. It comes from training. And training starts in one single place, your word. Your word is the contract with your own strength. Honor it, even in silence, even in fatigue, even when no one sees. And one day, without realizing it, you'll become unbreakable, not on the outside, but on the inside, because there is nothing stronger than someone who has learned to do what needs to be done with or without motivation. That someone can be you. Now, 3 practices to carry with you. Act before you want to. The mind will try to convince you to wait. Interrupt it, move, take a step. Choose a non-negotiable daily gesture. Something small, simple, but symbolic. That tells yourself, I follow through on what I promise. Review your discipline as if caring for a temple. It is your foundation, your root, your silent strength. And remember, the world won't give you what you want, but it will transform before those who do what needs to be done. You already know what must be done. Now do it. Every day. With sobriety. With presence. With purpose. Because in the end, pain shapes you, but purpose defines you. You are not here to be a hostage to your emotional swings. You are here to be a pillar. You are here to lead. You are here to train yourself and to become unshakable.